The emergency session of the Galactic Council had devolved into chaos. Ambassador HFY of the Crystalline Dominion slammed his four-armed appendage against the council table, his translucent form flickering with distress. The Void Swarm has consumed 17 star systems in the past lunar cycle. We need immediate military assistance. High Counselor Veltar, a towering insectoid from the Hive Worlds, clicked her mandibles in agreement. Our combined fleets are being decimated. The swarm adapts to every weapon, every strategy. We're losing this war. The murmur of agreement rippled through the assembly of hundreds of species. For 3 years, the galaxy had been fighting a losing battle against the Void Swarm, a mysterious force of biomechanical ships that consumed entire worlds, leaving nothing but empty space in their wake. At the far end of the council chamber, Ambassador Sarah Chen sat quietly in the human delegation's modest section. While other species occupied grand platforms befitting their ancient civilizations, humanity had been granted only a small observer's gallery. They were, after all, the newest members of the galactic community, barely 2 centuries since first contact. Perhaps, Sarah finally spoke, her voice calm amid the chaos, Earth could assist. The chamber fell silent. Then scattered chuckles echoed through the assembly. With respect, Ambassador Chen, HFY said, his tone patronizing, humanity possesses exactly 47 interstellar vessels. The Altarian Empire alone fields 12,000 capital ships. What could your species possibly contribute? Sarah smiled, an expression that seemed oddly confident to the alien observers. We'd like to deploy a single warship. The laughter was more pronounced this time. High Counselor Veltar's antennae twitched with what might have been amusement. One ship? Against a force that has destroyed fleets numbering in the tens of thousands? One ship, Sarah confirmed. 3 days later, the UES Defiant arrived at the warfront. The vessel that dropped out of hyperspace was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Where other ships were elegant curves or geometric perfection, the Defiant was a brutal angular mass of gray metal bristling with weapons. It measured barely 800 meters, smaller than most species' escort frigates. Fleet Admiral Korthax of the Zeridian Navy watched through his command ship's viewscreen as the human vessel took position at the front of their defensive line. The Void Swarm was approaching, a writhing mass of organic ships that blotted out the stars. Human vessel, Korthax transmitted, recommend you fall back to support position. Your sacrifice, while noble, will serve no purpose. Captain Maria Santos's voice crackled through the communications array. Negative, Admiral. We'll take point. The Void Swarm struck like a living tsunami. Thousands of bioships, each the size of a city, poured into the system. The alien fleet opened fire with their energy weapons, beautiful lances of light that had served them well for millennia. The swarm adapted within minutes, their hulls evolving to absorb and deflect the energy bursts. Then the Defiant fired. The human ship didn't use elegant energy weapons. Instead, tungsten slugs the size of telephone poles erupted from magnetic accelerators at significant fractions of light speed. The projectiles punched through the swarm ships like paper, leaving perfectly circular holes that vented atmosphere and biofluid into space. But that was only the beginning. The Defiant's hull split open like a mechanical flower, revealing launch bays that disgorged thousands of small craft. These weren't fighters in any traditional sense. They were missiles with basic AI, each carrying a payload that made the watching aliens question everything they thought they knew about warfare. The first wave carried nuclear warheads, crude fusion bombs that the galaxy had abandoned eons ago. But against bioships that adapted to energy, raw atomic fire proved devastatingly effective. The second wave carried something worse: engineered viruses designed to target the swarm's biological components. Impossible, whispered Admiral Korthax as swarm ships began dying by the dozens. How are they not adapting? Captain Santos's voice carried a grim satisfaction. Because we didn't evolve our weapons over millions of years. We perfected them through constant warfare against ourselves. Every weapon on this ship was designed to kill something that shoots back. The Defiant didn't dance gracefully through space like the alien vessels. It moved with purpose like a predator stalking prey. When swarm ships tried to ram it, hidden point defense systems emerged from its hull. Rotary cannons that fired depleted uranium rounds at cyclic rates that seemed impossible. Within an hour, the tide had turned. The Void Swarm, which had never encountered an enemy that escalated violence instead of seeking elegant solutions, found themselves outmatched by humanity's gift for creative destruction. As the last swarm ship died in nuclear fire, Admiral Korthax stared at his tactical display in disbelief. A single human vessel had accomplished what their combined fleets could not. How? He transmitted to the Defiant. Captain Santos sounded almost apologetic in her response. Admiral, your species evolved to solve problems. We evolved to create them. The swarm adapted to fight civilized opponents who viewed war as a last resort. She paused, and when she continued, there was something almost frightening in her voice. They weren't ready to fight a species that turned war into an art form. Back on the Galactic Council homeworld, Ambassador Sarah Chen addressed a very different assembly. Where before there had been condescension, now there was respectful silence. The galaxy cried that it was losing the war. She said simply, "So we sent one ship. Would you like to see what happens when we send two?" The motion to grant humanity full military alliance status passed unanimously. In the depths of space, the UES Defiant began its journey home, leaving behind a debris field that would puzzle xenoarchaeologists for generations to come. After all, what kind of species builds weapons designed specifically to kill other weapons? The kind that never forgets where it came from.